A caterwaul for pulp and glue fetishists. Those bleeding hearts decry book burning, yet fail to cross-check their e-readers. We can alter the digital version with profound sleight of hand. No smoke, no ash, but the effect is the same. And all at a temperature more manageable than Fahrenheit 451. I'll spare you the irony of burning this one, librarian. Technology has done your job for you.
Reporting.
My pockets are full. They won't find me later. Nothing going. Good idea. My battery was running low. I'll be taking this.
Marquez would have you believe he's a prophet? A man possessing otherworldly insight into how each state's downfall is predetermined? Well, surely he did not predict how his rampant vulgarity and celebrations of incest in 100 Years of Solitude would play before the court of his own state's generous overseers. I say we banish him for life, plus a century, librarian.
Sounds good. Sounds good. NTR. Nothing. Nothing. Situation is clear. It's quiet tonight.
There goes the screwdriver.
Not to be outdone by the overseer, our man Zager had printed his own first edition before his untimely death. Zager was busy designing his own manifesto. Sadly, overt fascism continues unchecked in many parts of the world. As a journalist, Zager covered atrocities like this one before he ever snuck inside Metamorphosis. These stories only further fueled his outrage. Holy 1990s. It's an old cardboard standee. Just a nostalgia keepsake from one of the Overseer's bookstore signings. I don't know where Zager found this life-sized embarrassment, but it appears he was using it for target practice. I guess Zager didn't appreciate the owl gift.
I don't have room for anything else. My pockets are full. I can't carry anymore.
Situation is clear. Check in. Bridge rack checking in.
Zager cassette.
No sign of the girl. Place is quiet. No sign of the girl. Situation is clear. Nothing going. What have you got?
Zager here. I want to apologize for the recent radio silence, but lately there's been a special project occupying my time.
Everything looks good.
See, I'm taking the old man's manifesto and I'm making a few changes. Treglazov may think his words are gospel, but I think he could use an editor. So I'm touching up those beautiful lies with a little ugly truth. All you gotta do is read between the lines. I gotta say, it's actually been easier than you might think. You can't swing a dead
Everything looks
Krizrak
good.
without hitting a stack of manifestos in this place, so no shortage of raw materials. Oh, and if you're wondering about distribution, well, all I can say is there's a few sympathetic parties down here willing to scatter these new and improved copies around, like drugs on a schoolyard. Good luck rounding them all up, Derringer. Oh, and Treglazov, if you're listening, and let's be honest, you probably are, then know this. The damage is done. My marked-up manifestos will soon go into circulation. They will be read. They'll be passed around. Eyes will be opened. Minds will be blown. And there will be no going back. You can't stuff the back in this Trojan horse. So happy reading. This is Zager saying to you, don't trust anybody. Not even me.
Rizrak, checking
Read
in.
my book. I'm not afraid to die. I got no qualms about winding up on the wrong end of a gun. We all go someday. What scares me is what they do to me after I'm dead. Maybe they leave my body intact. Make an open casket martyr out of me. That ain't likely. See, I think the chances are that they're going to cremate me.
Everything looks good.
Burn me like a stack of banned books. And then they'll take the propaganda machine out for a victory lap and scatter my ashes like so much confetti in a ticker tape parade. Because who doesn't love a parade, right? Who doesn't love a parade? Well, I don't. Listen, kids, I don't know what Treglazov has in store for you, but whatever he gives you going forward is too little, too late. Because he's already taken the best of you. He's taken your identity. That's what this place does. It's what men like the Overseer do. They
Situation
remove
is
your
clear.
right to privacy, and they leave you afraid to speak your mind. Pretty soon, there's no mind left to speak from. And without a point of view, you've got nothing. And you might as well be dead. Well, I'm still alive. And while there's still fire in my heart and a dangerous amount of wild turkey in my veins, I'm going to prepare for my own afterlife. I'm going to write my own obit. I'm going to get out in front of the old man's propaganda machine, and I'm going to stand there like the tank man and unyielding, unmoving. Too often,
No sign of the
history
girl.
is written by bad men, but not my history. Not my history. Not tonight. Tonight, I tell my own story. Even if it kills me. I have a treat for you today, kids. Today, I have got a book review for you. No, it's not the manifesto. It's one of the Overseer's earlier efforts. It's a little self-help manual from the late 90s with this rather dubious title. Now, here it is. Defrag Your Mind, the Pursuit of Happiness in a Computer Age. This could be the biggest waste of printed
Nothing.
pages ever to burden a bookshelf. I mean, this makes Mein Kampf look like Anne of Green Gables. Now, on page 1, he states, and I'm quoting here, disorganization is the single greatest threat to the continued existence of modern society. So, not genocide, not nuclear proliferation, not government oppression, not Wall Street. Clutter! Oh, man. I wish you could see this. This is got to be the ugliest dust jacket photo I've ever seen. Awful tie, worse haircut, nice sweater, jerk. This book starts by reminding us that we're all essentially supercomputers with an emphasis on the word super. It's cute. Next, he explains how we can simplify our lives, be even happier, by cleansing our minds of thoughts that are impure on the level of psychological honesty and filled with resentment and spiritual shallowness. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, this book is all about the whitewashing of the ugly truth and recasting it as beautiful lies. He thinks clutter's the problem. Well, I'd hate for him to see this place. Although, on second thought, maybe I should invite him over sometime for a little glasnost. Blow his
I've got
mind.
my post secure.
Literally. All right. I gotta go. This is Zager reminding you, don't trust anybody. Not even me. Zager here. Now, to all of you budding revolutionaries, I wanted to give a word of advice. The best way to fight fire is with more fire. Why do protests fail? Well, protests fail because the protesters bring knives to a gunfight. Nobody listens to a knife. If you want to get the Prizrak's attention, you need to learn to speak their language. And a charged taser or a full canister of P0 says plenty more than the verse-chorus verse of Kumbaya. I mean, what are you going to do? Kill them with kindness? Good luck. A revolt should be revolting. Violence is the only language these men speak, and brutality is their only currency. So, pay them back with the business end of a taser. Oh, they'll feel it in the morning. Believe me, I know. I have been tased and pepper sprayed more times than I care to remember. I was at a WTO protest once. I got hit in the eyes with so much capsaicin, it melted my contacts. It hurts. And that's the point. Because it hurts them too. Listen, the uprising begins the moment you are willing to fight fire with fire. This is what you have to do. Destiny's online too, so pick up the phone already. This is Zager telling you not to say peace. Because peace is for chumps. The only thing you're in charge of are the thoughts crashing around in your head. Everything else is beyond your control. But there are those who believe control can be rebranded, repackaged as participation, and that by doing this, the people will fall in line. See, they believe our actions can be made predictable, predetermined. They think they're God. They play the part.
Nothing.
But they're nothing like God. You know, they do, however, share a thing or two with the devil. Our fearless leader here in Metamorphosis, for example. Like the devil, he goes by many names. Sir, Treglazov, Headmaster, Overseer. He's never met a man whose will he didn't try to bend the way a prism bends light. Or break a man the way the gauchos break a horse. But the more he wraps the reins tighter in his small, meaty, sweaty little fists, the more they slip through his fingers. Because the Overseer, he doesn't know that a man cannot be tamed. A man cannot be controlled. And to drive a man toward domestication is to drive him over the edge, as my ex-wives can attest to. And man, beyond that cliff is pure chaos. Endless, terrifying, and honest. Chaos is a plain dealer. Now, the Overseer has a slight obsession with purity, if you haven't noticed, but control ain't pure. is oily and unctuous and slithery and full of deceit and lies. Now chaos, well, that's as pure as mountain spring water, as right as rain. The old man is oil, and I'm water, so it's no wonder we don't mix so well. So I say, it's time we give our fearless leader a taste of real purity. Right? Let's rain down chaos in this place and wash away all the lies. This is Zager reminding you, don't trust anyone. Not
What do you
even
got?
Zager here. Today, all Prizrak were required to report to the reading room for a mandatory audience with the overseer. Wait, I'm sorry, correction. The few and the proud were pleasantly surprised to find themselves graced by a visit from the big cheese himself. His Majesty treated our hometown heroes to a few select passages from his manifesto. And after all the applause, he even sat down to sign a few copies. So about this time, I'm off. I'm wandering the halls, doing a bit of reconnaissance when some FOB Prizrak found me and dragged me along. As luck would have it, I had a manifesto
What
with
have
me.
you got?
But it wasn't any old manifesto. It was mine. The edited version, where the pages are filled with righteous invective and disciplined truth. Like I've said before, my manifesto is the old man's death warrant. A summons for all the evil he's wrought into this place and beyond. Well, at least it will be once I can crank out enough copies. I'm kind of running a one-man opera here. Where was I? Oh yeah. So, all of a sudden here I am, being hustled up to the podium to meet the man himself. And before I can hide the book, he snatches it out of my hands, opens it up to the first page. Behind the mask, I'm white as a sheet. I'm waiting for him to look down to see my, improvements. I froze.
Another quiet night.
Just smiles that big plastic smile at me and kissed me as John Hancock under the words, "Best wishes." He hands it over. Off I go, and, well, here I am. I wonder if that smug Treglazov could appreciate the irony of signing his own death warrant.
Everything looks good.
I know I do.
No sign of the girl. Situation is clear.
wonder if this is what the blueprint's for. Is there a way to turn it back on? All right, now I think we need to configure the blueprint. We did it.
The girl has the key. Let's get her to the surface. Head back to the overseer's office.
This key's identical to the one the headmaster used in his office. Let's go there now.
Nothing going. Huh?
Welcome to my domain. What would you like? Sorry to see you go.
We did it.
It's been a long time since I allowed someone to speak to me this way, librarian.
I will not shy away from telling you what I see. You are the dark ruler of this world, Overseer.
This isn't a world, yet. Merely a small corner of it. And the darkness you perceive persists only because you refuse to open your eyes. Now, if you will excuse me, I must tend to more pressing matters in the Terminus. You don't have access to this part of the complex, so I will bid you farewell. Unless... would you care to see what we've been working on?
Not in the least. It is unreal to me. If I cannot hold it in my hands and smell the history in its pages, it is not there. I don't know what you do, and I don't care. But I do know fascism when I see it. I am well versed in the struggles against it. And I know that you will ultimately fail, as all fascists have failed.
Watch your step.
I will not! You must know this. You're nearly as old as me, but still so naive in the ways of the world. Control is illusory, Overseer. Your network, whatever you call it, I call it a trap. It will not catch everyone. And the ones who slip through it will regroup and stand against you someday. You think because of your fancy computers and your expensive surveillance that you can succeed with those who rose to power in the 20th century failed? You are naive. Control is a lie.
Control is the linchpin of a safe society. We fall apart without it. Now, as you can't seem to control your own emotions, librarian, I'm confident you don't recognize a need for control in society. Good day, sir.
I'll listen you up top over here.
There's an elevator on the other side of the atrium. It's probably the girl's best chance for getting to the surface.
An elevator. It must lead to the way out. So many buttons. The ninth floor. The top. The surface. No. Why are we stopping? Can you do something here?
I've been looking for you.
No! No!
Calm down. Calm down, or I'll have to tase you.
Help! Help!
Citizens of Metamorphosis. Words fail me tonight. I cannot rightfully describe the bleak, chasmal longing that echoes through my heart. Our beloved librarian, Senor Luis Octavo, has passed away. Derringer paid him a visit earlier this evening, hoping to discuss his exciting new role as cultural attaché. Instead, he found the Senor lying prone on his office floor, his heart failing. Ever valiant, Derringer sprang into action. He tried
desperately to save the poor man. Sadly, it was too late. The librarian succumbed to the great unknown, cradled in Derringer's arms. But in a final act of appreciation, his words, I'm sorry. His last words, as he looked up at Derringer, were, "Thank you." As I'm sure has been reported, Senor Octavo and I did not always see eye to eye. Still, I made it a point to listen to his thoughtful and honest assessments of our fair République. He was especially critical of our prized surveillance infrastructure. I regret that I wasn't ever able to persuade him of its importance. I learned at an early age to never speak ill of the dead. I must hold my tongue now. But I will say this, for it pains me too greatly to keep it to myself. Had our security been more robust, Luis Octavo would still be alive. A camera is an asset to our superior way of life. But what use is a camera without a good pair of eyes to monitor the feed? Had someone seen the librarian collapse, they could have reached him in time. I am confident the arrival will help improve security in the future, and thus assure us greater safety going forward. Thank you for listening. And good night, librarian. We mourn your loss, but we celebrate your life with an equal passion.